Hi, Phil here from Mecalac, Australia. Just going to do you a little walk around this 6MCR that we're building for Jack 2800 Earth. So it'll have an EngCon tilt rotator and Raptor 3D GPS on the machine. Fairly good package. A lot of attachments. We'll walk you through it at the moment. I'll start here on the machine. So 6MCR. All the factory options that we bring them into Australia with. So additional counterweight, second auxiliary circuit, anti-drop valves, including the bucket cylinder. So that's fantastic for when you're using the forks. So starting here, of course, when we go across to EngCon, we get the EngCon hitch instead of the Mecalac Connect hitch. So that's all fabricated up and it's fit on. We've got EngCon EC oil here. So I'll show you what that looks like from underneath. So you can see these two blocks. On the EC206, it's one hose per side, so a single coupling each side. That's just because of the space constraint. Then we've got a 3-ton rated enclosed lifting eye on it. The hoses come out on each side, so we route that nicely along here with the wiring for the tilt rotator. Comes on, we've made up these clamps to hold it all neatly. It's brought back a little bit here so we don't have any damage here. You know, you're hitting things with your dipper stick, you haven't got the hoses sticking out here. We come up, we tee this into the main auxiliary line. So the advantage of that is we can still make use of the circuit. If you've got, for example, simple auger drive or a rock breaker, etc., that you don't want to have EC oil on, all it needs high flow, we can still hook into this line when we're not using the tilt rotator. So all we do is tee into that line for the EngCon. Also, you can still have the EngCon installed. You just can't rotate or tilt at the same time as using the attachment. So for example, if you had a high flow forestry mulcher on it, we could still have the tilt rotator connected. It's just that the valves in the EngCon are all closed off, so the oil will try to go down there, have nowhere to go, and it'll come to your mulcher. It's just when you go to tilt or rotate, the oil will decide the easiest path. So it's just a bit of a cheeky way of making use of that high flow circuit still, but still using it on the tilt rotator. We do have the second auxiliary circuit, so that's a low flow circuit. You could put the tilt rotator on it, but when you're grading, you want more flow for getting that bucket rotating and tilting quickly. So around to this side, very similar, high flow circuit, low flow circuit, second auxiliary. Then we've got the case drain line. So that runs straight back to tank. It's got the little 3/8 male flat face coupling, the same as all the track loaders have. So when we're running any track loader attachments, we can plug straight into the circuit. So that's very simple. So the sensors for the Raptor 3D GPS will get installed. So one for each boom segment, a few sensors in the belly of the machine, and that will just come into the cab. They'll have some box behind the seat with some parts in it, and then we'll just have a screen up here. So we'll show you that on the next part when we have that installed. I'll give you a good little walk around on the attachments. So starting over the tilt rotator. So the tilt rotator is an EC206B. This has got the rotation and tilt sensor in it from EngCon, which will communicate with the Raptor software. So on the screen, you'll be able to see not only your arm moving, but the bucket rotating and tilting. This is the integrated grab. So that bolts in around the bottom of the tilt rotator, and it's always on there, so you can tilt and rotate with the little grab. Very handy. Once you've used one, it's very hard to go back. It's a work of art, this little QS40 size. Beautiful. Pallet forks. Here's 4 EC oil brackets. So the customer, Jack, is getting the 4-in-1 bucket over there with the EC oil. The skid steer adapter will be getting an EC oil bracket. That's so he can disconnect the skid steer attachment without getting out of the cab. So we'll just have from the EC oil blocks, that bracket will get welded on here in place of the connect, and then we'll bring out from the EC oil bracket, we'll bring out some hoses to some 1/2-inch flat face couplings. So it'll be the same as any skid steer attachment. It can stay on there, and you just disconnect from the S40 section and leave the adapter connected to the skid steer attachment. And then one for an auger drive, and then a fourth one is we'll show you more on that a little bit later on. Just digging buckets, so 900 with teeth. 600 with teeth, and then a sand bucket, so 300mm sand bucket. We've got our grading beam with a nice big roller on the back, and then 1200mm grading buckets. So these have those scalloped back sides, so they're fantastic for when you're rotating around the bum of the bucket. If you're rotating around a pole, the bum of the bucket doesn't clip the pole as you're rotating around. So this is the 4-in-1. That's going to get same deal. Connect will be off, and the S40 will go on, but that will need some strengthening. So we'll be gusseting that up onto here, getting it in the right spot for the rollers to work. But yeah, making sure it's strong enough to handle the force that the machine has got. Yeah, good challenge, but the fab guys know what they're doing and have done quite a few now. So very happy with how this one's coming together. On the next part, we'll show the install of the RaptorTech 3D GPS. It's actually quite simple. It's a few sensors. On top of the roof will be the GPS receivers, the mushrooms, and then just comes back to some components in a box, and then you got your screen up there. So as you're moving the joysticks, you'll see you move the boom of the machine, you'll see on the screen the actual arm on the machine's moving. You can, once you've got it dialed in, it replaces a guy on a stick, so you can use the machine to go touch off at different heights, set a reference point, and add grades, all sorts. So it's becoming very popular in the industry, and yeah, more to come on 3D in the future. So that's a good start. When we get a little bit more progress, we'll put up another part. Thanks, guys.